Yes, now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Thomas Rants YouTube channel. I'm aware I'm incredibly late on this, but we're still here to do it. Regardless, let's talk SmackDown. Now, we had the long-awaited tag team match between Julia and Kiana James against Michin and B-Fab. And not only did Julia and Kiana James get the win, but they got it in a way of such that Julia pinned Michin. So that feud, if it continues, has no substance to it because Julia's already pinned Michin. And she's already defended the title against her. Yeah, I mean, let's knock it on the head now. Let's get some different challenger for the US title, I would say anyway. I mean, there's got to be someone else on the roster that we can't have challenge for that title. And Sami Zayn brought back the US Open Challenge, as we know. And typically they've been announcing who the opponents are going to be. And, well, I always said that I prefer when the person just comes out. And that they did do this week. And I'm not sure if it was just for this week, for the occasion, or if that's how it's going to be throughout. But I hope it's how it's going to be throughout. I hope it is. He comes out to the ring and whoever it is, hit your music, surprise us, come out. And boy, was it a surprise. Why? Because it was Javon Evans from SmackDown, from NXT up onto SmackDown. If you know who Javon Evans is, you know this guy is a talent in the ring. Only 21, and he has made it to the main roster. Obviously, it's not his call-up. It's not his main roster debut. He's still going to remain down on NXT, but it's a perfect way to build a star in NXT because you showcase his talent. Him and Sami Zayn had match of the night. And it was an incredible match. And there was moments where Javon Evans technically pinned or beat Sami Zayn. The referee was just slow at counting. And there was some delayed kickouts. But what a match Sami and Javon had. I'm glad that was a match. So far, all of Sami's open challenges have been bangouts. We had John Cena. We had Rey Fenix. We had Carmelo Hayes. And now we've had Javon Evans. So I'm liking how it's going. Obviously, Sami retained. Let's not be stupid here. But it was nice to see. And as for the women's tag team champions, obviously they defended their belts last week. So I had no in-ring action, nothing. But we did have a bit of a backstage moment with Zaruka. Obviously, the NXT roster was in town for their No Mercy PLE, which is why Javon Evans was there. And Zaruka was there. And yeah, it was just a bit of a moment of competitiveness, I suppose. And Zaruka, we should see challenge for the title soon because I know NXT were next, and it was, I believe it was Fatal Influence, and or was it? I can't remember. Anyways, they weren't successful, and then it was right back onto SmackDown. So hopefully Zaruka get a shot because they deserve a shot before the breakup because we know that breakup is coming. Let's talk the men's tag titles though. We had the Street Profits trying to prove to the world that they are not falling out and instead went into tag team action against Carmelo Hayes and The Miz. And if anyone was falling out and not bonding as a tag team, it was Carmelo Hayes and The Miz because The Miz once again tried to steal Hayes' spotlight and tagged himself in right as Hayes had a finish lined up. And Carmelo Hayes stopped him. He grabbed his arm, didn't let go of him, and then when he got hit by the Street Profits with a finishing move, he decided not to help and not to break up the pin. And they lost that match, and the Street Profits are now number one contenders for the tag team titles, which here is my problem. Having this match to prove that you are still functioning as a tag team, that is a good enough reason to have a match. But when we are talking about literally 3 or 4 weeks ago, we had Melo Miz versus Street Profits number one contender match. Street Profits win. Then literally last week or the week before, we had Street Profits versus Wyatt Six for the titles, and the Wyatt Six retained. Why are we then putting the two teams that just had their shot at number one contendership, one who had a shot at the title, back in at the number one contendership spot? We should be having DIY versus Fraxium or some other team. Los Garza maybe. Sure, maybe once in a while. I know Andrade's left the company now, which is ridiculous. And I know Elton Prince is injured. I don't know why we're going back to the Street Profits being number one contenders again. It's getting boring. We had such a good SmackDown tag division. And for some reason, they're fumbling it again. And I'm not happy with it. I'll be honest, I'm not proud of it. But speaking of Elton Prince and Kit Wilson last week, as we know, got attacked by Damian Priest after running his mouth. And he decided this week, while hurt from it, to still run his mouth at Damian Priest. And as Damian Priest dealt with him, Aleister Black was there and dealt with him. And it turns out that Aleister Black and Damian Priest are still not done. But it's fine, because we can have one great matchup and then this can finally be over. And please, dear Lord, let it be over after that. Speaking of let it be over, I've had my qualms about Nia Jax constantly getting a shot at the women's title. Well, we had that triple threat match for the title in the main event of SmackDown. We had Nia Jax, we had Jade Cargill, we had Tiffany Stratton, the winner as not only champion, but will face the other champion, Stephanie Vaquer, at Crown Jewel. Obviously, that winner was Tiffany Stratton. I mean, did anyone think Jade Cargill would win the title? I mean, I had a bit of a thought in the back of my head that Jade might win it, but Tiffany retained, which was the right answer, in my opinion. And now we're getting Stephanie Vaquer at Crown Jewel, and Stephanie Vaquer actually dropped in on all three of them throughout the night, you know, just to have a bit of to mix it up. You know, WWE wanted this in the air. They wanted Stephanie to address all three of them, to not give it away who the winner would be, but we kind of all knew. And what really annoys me, because it's the main event, is it's a botched finish. We have this a lot with Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton, and Jade Cargill. A botched finish. And the match was decent. The match was great. I mean, I seen this triple threat match at the live show in Newcastle I went to see. The finish was better on the live show, and that was the opening match. This was the main event of SmackDown. Don't rate it, but Tiffany got the win regardless, which is what's important. Tiffany, Vaquer, that match is going to eat. I'd love Vaquer to win, but I don't think they're going to do that. They're going to have Tiffany win, but I'm fine with it because they're going to have Seth beat Cody. Speaking of Cody after defending his title against Drew was not addressed Drew McIntyre and instead addressed Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman was there tonight. And Cody Rhodes wanted to know what was going on between Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar, because Paul Heyman pulled up saying we could talk about Brock Lesnar, and I'm glad this is going somewhere. I said when Brock Lesnar had Paul Heyman announce him, I hope this wasn't a one-off, because it made zero sense. Paul's in a faction. Last time Paul and Brock were in the same place, it was Paul Heyman turning on Brock Lesnar. So I said that this better have something behind it, or better lead somewhere. Because if it's just a one-off that makes no sense, that ruins things for me. So he is addressing it, and Cody did ask the question. While we didn't get an answer, we kind of got an affirmation that there is something behind it. I'm hoping that isn't just it. I'm hoping we do get a further storyline, because it needs to make sense in my opinion. But obviously then the obvious happened, and Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed came in the ring, started to fight Cody, and then Randy Orton came and made the save. And we're probably going to get that as a tag team match, probably next week or at some point. God knows. Yeah, and that was kind of it for Cody that night. And the man who lost to Cody, Drew McIntyre, because of the ref and all this, you know, I feel like should be coming out asking for a rematch, and he was, but it wasn't given to him. Nick Aldis told him to stop being dramatic and that his leg wasn't actually injured. And yeah, Nick Aldis left, and Drew McIntyre kept running his mouth, and Jacob Fatu came out. Now, unfortunately, Drew and Cody is not continuing for now, at least, which I believe it should. But instead, we are getting Jacob Fatu versus Drew McIntyre. Now, this I'm here for. We've not seen Jacob Fatu in a while, so I'm glad to see him back, first of all. But Jacob Fatu, Drew McIntyre is a match I can get behind, and a feud I can get behind. Now, I do still believe Drew McIntyre is going to be the one to take the title off of Cody, and I do still believe that should be the way it is. However, I don't think they want that quite just yet. They want, obviously, they've got Cody busy at Crown Jewel, and they want to keep Drew McIntyre hot while Cody is busy. And I feel like this is going to be the way they do it. And Drew McIntyre might win this feud over Jacob Fatu, I probably believe. But then I'm predicting Survivor Series or Royal Rumble is where Drew McIntyre will take that title, and I'm here for it. And if it doesn't happen, I'm going to be mad, because here's my thought process. My thought process is Drew McIntyre wins that WWE title at Royal Rumble at the latest. Roman Reigns wins the Royal Rumble, you're probably thinking it's Saudi Arabia. They're going to want Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn's United States champion. I don't know if he's still going to be United States champion by the time the Royal Rumble comes around, but he is just coming up from the mid-card, so I don't know if they're going to put him in that position. However, Saudi Arabia normally want the big names, the big numbers. Roman Reigns has got probably 1 year left, right? He said it. He said like he has 2 years left, including this one, right? So he probably has 1 year left, probably, if not 2, but they want to guarantee this one. I think Saudi Arabia wants Roman Reigns to win that Rumble, and so do I. Why? Not because it's, oh, we need the underdog to win the Rumble. I see a world where we have Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins for that world title one-on-one at WrestleMania. And then who's Drew McIntyre going to defend that WWE title against at WrestleMania? The winner of the Elimination Chamber, which could be Sami Zayn. You know, if Sami Zayn was the other person, Sami could win the Rumble, Roman could win the Chamber. However, I don't think it's going to be Sami Zayn, because Sami Zayn doesn't make sense against Drew McIntyre or Seth Rollins, right? Who does make sense against Drew McIntyre? Who would put on a banger with Drew McIntyre? Who is capable of winning an Elimination Chamber? A man who's currently on the shelf. Gunther. Gunther's going to come back. He's going to move to SmackDown. He's done all he needs to do on Monday Night Raw. He's got to come to SmackDown. He's got to win that chamber. He is going to face Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania. That's going to be a banger of a match, and I'm calling it. So that's what I've took from this week's SmackDown. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.